You finally got out, but right now you have absolutely no idea who you are. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, I want you to just settle in, take a breath, and really listen to what we're about to unpack. Because today we're looking at something incredibly personal. We're exploring the collapse of identity. We're diving into a phenomenon that happens entirely in the shadows, behind closed doors, right in those spaces where love is supposed to be, but where something else completely took its place. We're looking at exactly what happens to your mind and your core sense of self after a toxic relationship finally comes to an end. You got out. You are free. I just want you to take a moment to let the reality of that statement actually wash over you. You survived. You survived the arguments, the manipulation, all those invisible wars fought right in your own living room. You packed the bags, you made the break, you locked that door behind you. The physical escape, it's done. You literally did the hardest thing you ever thought you'd have to do. But then, the quiet sets in, and you're left with this brilliant, utterly terrifying question. Who are you now? I mean, the relationship is over, right? But the person you were before it, the one with the sharp opinions, the clear preferences, the vivid dreams and distinct edges, that person seems to have vanished completely. You look in the mirror, and sure, you recognize the face, but you have absolutely no idea who's actually looking back at you. Section 1. The mechanics of erasure. Now, I need you to hear this. This loss of self, it's not a coincidence. And more importantly, it is absolutely not a personal failure on your part. What you're experiencing is the deliberate, calculated design of a toxic relationship. To rebuild your identity, we first have to look at exactly how it was erased. Because identity erosion doesn't just happen all at once in some grand, dramatic movie moment. It happens in millimeters. It starts so small. Step 1, a simple preference of yours is just casually dismissed. Then step 2, an opinion you hold dear gets subtly mocked or belittled. Step 3, a boundary you set is crossed and, you just find yourself not defending it because it's honestly just easier that way. And finally, step 4, a piece of who you are is quietly set aside, just to keep the peace. It's this slow, methodical chipping away of your edges. And over months or even years, the accumulated weight of all those tiny, seemingly insignificant little surrenders produces a really profound outcome. You arrive at this chilling reality. You no longer know what you want. You don't know what you like or what you believe, independent of what that other person thinks. Your internal compass wasn't broken. It was just carefully, deliberately recalibrated to point only toward them. The clinical reality of what you endured is what psychologists actually call enmeshment. In a toxic dynamic like that, the healthy boundaries between two people just completely dissolve. Think about it. Their moods literally became your moods. Their chaotic reality became your only reality. Their needs consumed so much oxygen in the room that your needs suffocated and just disappeared entirely. You became so completely fused with them that pulling away didn't just feel like a normal breakup. It felt like tearing apart living tissue. And this is exactly why leaving a toxic relationship feels like losing a part of yourself. I really want to validate that for you right now. It feels that way because you quite literally did lose a part of yourself. But I want you to ask yourself a very gentle but totally profound question here. Was the part you lost actually a part worth keeping? Or was it simply a role you were forced to play? A part that honestly was never really yours to begin with? Section 2. The void after. So when the relationship finally ends, a lot of people describe experiencing this vast, totally disorienting emptiness. And look, this isn't just normal grief. It isn't just the standard loneliness of suddenly being single. It is something so much deeper and honestly so much darker. Think of this as the raw blueprint of a mind trying to rebuild itself completely from scratch. It maps out the chaotic fundamental instructions of your psychology right now. This is the literal mental space where your identity used to live, right before it was systematically overwritten by the shape of someone else's needs. And now that space is just raw, unformatted code. It leaves you with this specific, paralyzing blankness. It's the feeling of reaching for yourself and finding absolutely nothing there. You reach for an opinion, a desire, a natural reaction, and your hand just passes right through empty air. I know how terrifying that void is. I really do. I know what it feels like to sit in the quiet and realize you don't even know what music to play if there's no one around to judge it. But please, listen to me. This void is real, it is valid, and while it feels a lot like death right now, it is actually the beginning of something. Section 3. The echo of before. Let's step out of that void and just look backward for a second, because I need to remind you of a fundamental truth. There is a version of you that existed before this relationship. The people who knew you then, your old friends, your family, former coworkers, they still remember that person. They remember someone with really distinct interests, strong opinions, and a way of moving through the world that was entirely their own. The absolute crucial point here is this: quiet is not gone. That vibrant, independent version of you, they just went underground. They learned to be extremely quiet in order to survive the environment you were stuck in. And the process of your recovery begins with the deliberate, patient act of just coaxing them back to the surface. It begins by simply asking yourself, what did I love before I was told what to love? But here's where we have to be incredibly careful. Because that emptiness is so profoundly uncomfortable, there's this massive natural temptation to just rush in and fill it. You might feel the urge to jump into a new relationship or adopt some totally new identity or force this grand, complete reinvention. But rushing to fill the void usually just repeats the exact same pattern, defining yourself through someone else's eyes. Real identity reconstruction requires something a lot harder. It requires sitting with the emptiness long enough to actually hear what's underneath it. Section 4. Reclaiming your voice. Once you can finally sit in that quiet, that's when you can begin the awakening. You can start reclaiming your voice. Because remember, one of the very first casualties of your toxic relationship was your basic ability to simply have an opinion. When your thoughts are constantly overridden, you just naturally learn to stop having them out loud. So we start small. Reclaiming your identity doesn't start with these grand, sweeping life philosophies. It starts right here. What do you actually think about this film? Do you actually even like this food? How do you genuinely feel about this person or this specific situation? Not what you're supposed to think, not what's safe to think. Through tiny experiments, small choices, and little acts of self-definition, you have to keep asking yourself, what do I actually think? Section 5, you are not starting over. As you do this work, you're probably going to feel like you're standing at the bottom of a massive mountain. Most people describe rebuilding their identity after toxic enmeshment as starting over, as if everything they were before was completely destroyed and just lost to the ashes. But I want to completely scrap that narrative right now. You are not starting over. Starting over implies that everything before was lost, like you're back at zero. But that is not what's happening here. Everything you experienced, everything you endured, everything you barely survived, it is all part of the bedrock of who you are right now. You aren't starting over. You're just starting. But this time, you're starting with the full, harder knowledge of exactly what you are capable of surviving. Yes, for sure, that toxic relationship took things from you. It took your time, it took your trust, it took parts of yourself that you're probably still trying to find in the dark. But it also showed you something totally invaluable. It showed you exactly how much of yourself you were willing to give away in the name of love. And now you know. You will literally never give that much away again. You're building something right now that belongs entirely, exclusively to you. And knowing your own boundaries, that's where everything truly begins. You have survived the collapse. Now it's time to build the architecture of who you're going to become next. So ask yourself, who will you choose to be now that the pen is finally back in your own hands? If you want to keep uncovering these hidden mechanics of the mind on this explainer, make sure you subscribe to Dark Archive. Every single week, we open a new file on forbidden psychology, buried history, and the dark truths of human nature they definitely never taught you. The archive is open. We'll see you in the next one.